our legislative delegation from Western Maryland, Jordan, Wendell, and everybody for being here, and the county administrator. I want to introduce you to a man who's very, very important to all of us. This is Joe Bricado. Joe and I work together in the city of Baltimore. Were you a battalion chief there? Deputy chief. Deputy chief. Well, I promoted you in retrospect. So Joe is our top operations person for Maryland Emergency Management Administration. So as this hurricane got out of our way, all of our attention focused to Garrett County. We all are dealing with a different weather emergency. We've been like America's weather emergencies in miniature these last 72 hours. I know you have a lot of people who are without power. Mayor and I spoke yesterday, and I appreciate all the mayors being here in full force. Look, we have brought in a number of people from NEMA to help with the management of all of this work and to prioritize it. We have SHA's been here in force. I mean, they've been plowing wherever they're not blocked. And I see a lot of evidence of all of your good work in terms of what you all have been doing, and the Mennonite community and everybody else clearing trees. It would seem, and we have more crews coming from DNR and other places to help get some more chainsaws on the problem here and open up the roads. I've been in touch with First Energy, both their headquarters in Akron as well as their guy. Is Jim here, by the way? I was told Jim might be here, their local guy. I saw a bunch of crews. We were passing a bunch of pike crews that are on their way here, a big column fueling up with pilots on the other side of the mountain here. So there are a lot of forces coming here. But Joe, I asked to come and assist with his MEMA team, and you have some people here as far away as Kansas, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
That flex to come up here and to provide some help in order to get at what we need to get at. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's my understanding that the biggest problem here is we still have like 15,000 people without electric, and many of them have been without electric for about the last 3 days. We also have representatives here from Ben Cardin's office and also from Senator Mikulski's office, both of whom I spoke with on the way up here. So my biggest concern is the power outage. You all agree that that's the biggest problem here? Okay. And the biggest impediment to that power restoration seems to be the blockages of the road so that the crews can get up and get on these things. And so Joe's mapping the county and identifying the blockages. And my other concern, I know we had the county manager here and we had the head of social services.
Yes.
We got big phone banks that are available from other parts of the state. I know that there are a lot of phone lines down as well, and a lot of people's cell phones have run out by now too. But I'm very concerned about the seniors, especially those that are living alone. I mean, we can identify the congregate living, the assisted living sites, and all of those are pretty easy to identify. But what I'd like to be able to do is to reach out by phone, by social media, by any means necessary, to narrow down that list of seniors that we need to check on. Some of whom, no doubt, ran out of their medications probably before the storm hit. Maybe some of them are without food.
We are setting up a line, an assistance line as we speak.
Great.
To be able to call in and now be advertising that as well.
Good. Get Joe that assistance line as soon as you can, so as our people are on the get feedback on social media, and we're narrowing down that list. If we have people that need the help, we can make sure we get somebody out there. And then I do believe that we're going to be sending Guard out possibly. We're already doing wellness checks.
For that, we're going to be sending Guard out to do wellness checks, as well as we have a search and rescue task force from the Central Maryland region that's already en route now, and we'll be supplementing the Guard, so that once we identify those areas that really that haven't had any attention, we're going to start moving some people into that area to check on people, and if they need to be moved, then to arrange that for the shelter.
And the shelter is ready to go. And get those folks.
Governor Wayne Yoder with Community Action Week, or also the area young aging. But just in terms of the elderly, because that's a concern also. Beginning yesterday, last evening, and continuing today, we're contacting or making direct contact with about 300 of the most severe, most isolated.
And you know who they are?
Yes, we do. We have.
Right.
And then we can't get telephone contact with all of them, but there's an assessment here that includes an assessment of their condition, which in many parts talks about accessibility and whether you get in, given the snow, which, I mean, getting rid of the snow has been a really big problem. But by the end of today, we'll have an assessment, an aggregated assessment for all those households. And it deals with food, it deals with property damage, it deals with medical, and it deals with home heating. So we'll have a full assessment on
Good.
just those individuals by the end of the day.
And you know who those 300 are?
We do. The health department, in addition to community action, has given the Maryland Office on Aging, by the way, Andrew Ross, I believe it was, in terms of 800 individuals who are a part of what they call the AIRS program. And I think the Maryland Office on Aging is making contact with those as well. And that's in process today. But I think the big issue for us is going to be an assessment of their current condition and how easy it is to get in there if there is a need to get in there for some reason.
We're in touch with the aging as they identify those people by reaching out to them by phone. They're going to
That's essentially us, and so that's what.
Yeah, the Garrett County Department of Social Services is doing that also.
Okay, you guys are coordinated and
Yes.
deconflicting. Joe, is there anything I left off before we open it up and go around?
I think one of the other areas that's of concern is communications from the sheriff. They're concerned about their 911 and communications. There are a couple of towers that they're concerned about the fuel. So we're working with the National Guard and with the Garrett County people to kind of see what we can do to check on those fuels. Apparently they're pretty high up and it's difficult to get to them. So we're trying to work through that at the same time today to kind of make sure we can keep that communication.
What do you mean, cell towers?
It's the 911, yeah, the big towers, the cell tower, yes. Cell and 911 communications.
And the fuel source is what?
It's propane as a backup. For the electricity stuff, we use propane as a backup fuel for the generators.
But the backup fuel is way up.
Well, yeah, it's way up the mountain, and we're not sure right now as to the status of the fuel supply. So before it runs out, they want to check and see if we need additional fuel for those things or to change out the battery backups.
Gotcha. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Any cooperation you need that you're not getting?
No, sir.
Why don't we go around? In no particular order. Mayor, concern?
I think, you outlined the concerns. It's getting electric back on, so people have heat, clearing roads, getting rid of the electric lines that are entangled in the trees, which has been a problem. You don't want your roads crews messing in trees that have electric lines in it. But I understand that Allegheny Power is going to start putting some folks in some of the roads trucks so that they can determine, is
Yeah,
it a
they
hot
gotta
line,
find
is it a cold line, can it be teared, whatever, can it be moved, can it not be moved, so.
And our goal is really to help the utility people by pairing them up with one or two people with chainsaws so that as they come across, because what we're hearing is they can't get the power restored because they can't get the roads cleared, or they can't get the roads cleared because the power lines are in. So the goal is that when we send these people out, we send them out as a self-contained unit that if they come across a down power line, people take it out of the way and then the guys can fix the line.
There has to be a...
Mountain Lake Park, we're lucky. We have all the streets open. Most people have electric now. The big concern we have is the cleanup. I've estimated it's probably going to cost us $100,000 to clean it up. And
What, fallen trees?
yeah, and you and I have talked in the past. We don't have much highway user revenue anymore.
You don't have much revenue anymore, period. You have there.
Same concern. Our power outages, probably 80% of our town is still without power. We're coming back sporadically. Like Leo alluded to, our streets are open. We have, actually have one block, but all the houses get assessed by emergency vehicles and EV. Neighbors going around, myself going around checking on the people and make sure everybody's okay. Seems to be fine there. It's just the power is the biggest concern at this point. Fortunately, it's been decent temperatures, so it's not been below freezing for a long period of time, so that's a good thing. But the power is the biggest concern. We're making headway on it.
Mayor, any other mayor?
My greatest concern right now too is cleanup. I just recently, about a month ago, had to have a tree company come in and cut down 2 trees and trim 3 trees that were town trees that were damaged. Cost me $3,500, and I can't even imagine what this bill will do to clean it up. And with the Maryland roadside tree law, we're not supposed to have anyone take care of these trees without them being certified by DNR. And we don't have access to anybody local really anymore to do that. And with the 5 towns sharing a chipper, there's no way that we can get this mess cleaned up. So we need help with getting this cleaned up. We do still have a couple of trees that are blocking the road, and there are wires and lines in
We'll get DNR to help with cleanup.
Friendsville, we have 5 inches of snow, but we have no electricity. Our problem is we have 65% of our population is senior citizens. So we have the fire department opened up. People are down there preparing meals for them, the auxiliary. They're staying there. We got the folks out of Friendship Heights Department staying there. We have very few generators. Local restaurants open right now. But it's just trying to get the electricity back on for everybody in the county. That's our big concern. The hillsides is what's the problem, as they're trying to take down some trees. Other trees are uprooting and snapping and bringing down more power lines. It just happened an hour ago on 219. Like Israel, big power line went down. So for safety of the people that are out, we're asking them to be careful as well as they're trying to help. And everybody's pulling together, but it's going to be.
What's the apartment there?
Friendship Heights Apartments.
How many people?
There's 26 units of elderly people in there.
And can it take a generator if it has a generator?
It could, yes.
It's wired to a transformer?
So we're trying to, the gentleman owns it from Bethesda area, so we're trying to get in contact with him to get him up there.
Joe, I believe the city sent in some generators our way.
Yes, sir, they are. I'll work into that with the mayor.
Ben just said that there's also an elderly project development in Oakland, Underwood, 32 residents. They've been without power for almost the entire time. It was up a little bit yesterday, but they're out again today. And this will be a duplicate of what's been.
Could I get the address offline when we're done here?
And we have one of those residents right behind us that's been in the shelter.
Folks that are on auction is a big concern. They're very concerned now, and
So if I can get that address before we're done here.
Yeah, Frank?
And there's another nursing facility in Oakland too that may have open beds to take some of those elderly and care for them. It's ONRC right down the street.
We'll coordinate.
You have a spreadsheet of the senior places?
Yes, I do.
You can check on status on all.
The Sheriff's Department and Maryland State Police have been doing well checks. We got a list from MEMA last night of the senior housing, and the Sheriff's Department checked all those last night.
It's the small ones, the assisted, whatever they call them, the
Wayne was
ERS.
talking about, and Mayor.
The S4 site. Like a walking, jump on that.
I think you have grants, no, yeah.
Grants?
Well, we're maybe in a little better shape than a lot of, half our town's still on power, half's out. The problem we have is our water and sewer plants are outside of town on opposite ends. They're both out of power. We're running on generator backup. Our town employees are fantastic. They've really done a great job keeping things going. Our streets are open. I think for the most part, we're doing okay. I saw the National Guard out in town last night going door to door. We appreciate that. They're helping out. Our town does real well, helping each other, neighbors helping neighbors. A lot of generators going. I work for the school system too. I saw the National Guard clearing out Northern High School parking lots, and we appreciate that. But we have, the other problem we have with the electric, we get a few on and then a few more go off. So we haven't been able to really gain much, because a couple we get on and a couple more come off, and our whole surrounding part of town is out, but town proper is about half to maybe 60% operation.
Where are your water plants?
Our water plant is on Negro Mountain, and our sewer plant's down right at the Chipmunk Park at Castleman Bridge. And one runs on propane, the other runs on diesel. We were able to order that yesterday. We had some local people. We had to make a lot of phone calls. We had some people kind of prioritize, which we appreciate, and go out of their way to make sure that we can keep that operational.
Are they backed up?
No, they're working.
They are
They're
working.
on generator backup right now. They have not lost service. They're still.
Yeah, because Jim, I thought that none of the water and wastewater treatment plants were out. Am I wrong in that?
Well, I mean, they're on generators at this point, so I mean, they're still operational, is our understanding.
But they're fragile and dependent.
Well, because as you know, generators have been one of our biggest problems. I mean, generators have gone out on us that were functioning, and that became our first problem with the nursing home. They fired their generator up, it filled the building full of smoke. They had to evacuate the building and bring the people over here. So that was some of the problems. And that's the same problems that we're having with our 911 system, is our generators are failing sometimes.
Right, especially when they're pumping for long periods of time.
We're at the State's Emergency Operations Center. We're holding daily calls, and we do have representatives from the utilities in the Operations Center, and we're doing daily phone calls with the utilities to kind of keep track of that. So whatever issues you guys have, if you want to give it to me after this, then I'll reach back to the State's Emergency Operations Center.
Yeah, we should prioritize the water wastewater plants and then the senior stuff.
I had a call last night actually, on Starner Hill, at the Northerly project owned by Catholic Charity. And they said the call was from Tommy Edison, and they said they were without power as well. Do you know what?
Starner Hill?
Starner Hill.
They must have been on a generator. When I drove by last night, they were lights on there.
Well, John Emmerich is the one who.
That section of town's out though.
Yeah. Well, I know our senior center there is out as well.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about their situation.
All right, accident?
We have some of the same concerns, but the whole town's out of power, the surrounding community. We do have a backup generator for our water well, but down at the plant, I think they have a generator like the UV lights, but not to run the whole plant. We don't have one in the whole plant.
We need to figure out what size generators these places require.
So we might need something for that, for the plant. We don't have one for the water.
Mr. Chairman, any other mayor?
That's all. Kitzmiller is the only one I don't believe is represented, and we will check on the situation with Kitzmiller as soon as we get back to the office.
Jim, what's your perspective here?
I think that we're in really good shape now. We have the people here that we need in place. I think we have a good command structure in place now. I'm feeling very good today. I was very nervous, as you know, yesterday when I talked with you, and mainly because of we want to get through this thing with minimal damage to property, and we certainly want to get through this thing with no lives lost, and that's what our goal is, and I know that's what your goal and your administration as well.
And Chris, note to Chris Huel.
Yep.
Note to John Griffin. Figure out some sort of long-term plan for how we keep DNR assets up here to help the mayors remove some of these trees.
Thank you.
What else? Any other commissioners? Greg?
No, I think Commissioner Rowley summed it up fairly well. Thank you. Appreciate you coming up. Appreciate the state's leadership and all the assets that you're bringing to bear.
No, like I told you yesterday, my whole state's now Garrett County. So we have General Hintz who's here as well, I think, from your Maryland Army Guard, and so yeah, we will do whatever it takes to get you all back up on your feet. I had reason to hope that they did a flyover last night of some of the main transmission lines. They got a helicopter up for at least long enough to see where the main breaks were in that transmission line. And as you all probably know, it goes to transmission line, substations, and then the feeders. Once you get to the feeders, you're down to a lot of onesies and twosies. But I'm hopeful, after talking to First Energy people last night, that once they get that second break on that transmission line repaired, that may well power up half of the 15,000 people that are still without. I say people is probably more like customers. So, anything else? Anything else you need by way of support or MAP or IT or GIS or any of that sort of thing?
No, sir, we've got a lot of...
Speaking of GIS, since we just went there, Garrett County they did have GIS capabilities at the ready. I'm actually a disabled combat veteran. I've been here a year.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you. I don't hear it much around here, unfortunately. I've had doors slammed in my face in the field of GIS. NEMA has been phenomenal with their GIS capabilities. Garrett County has continually failed to upgrade these systems. We had FEMA grant money, a $35,000 grant standing at the ready. It was denied because they did not feel the need about 2 weeks ago. I'm extremely upset. This is my skill set. This is what I do. And I felt like if I had the opportunity to complete that work, this would not have been such an issue. The GIS capabilities and the data that they already have would have told us where every elderly house was. I've been using the system at my house and taking a chainsaw out. I'm sorry, excuse me. And some friends have been literally rough marching out driveways to get this food out. And these people weren't prepared for this. They weren't ready for it. It was not taken as seriously as it should have. These storms, I'm sure you've seen through National Weather Administration, through some of the other organizations, these storms, this was not a typical storm, yet it was treated like one in Garrett County. The snowfall was predicted, it was seen, it was foreseen. We had a blizzard warning out, and unfortunately the politics got in the way of notifying the people. There's still people that didn't even know that you declared a state of emergency, that the storm was upon them, and now they're stranded. This is a huge rural county. Yes, we have a lot of towns. We have a lot of people that live in those towns. Getting the power back on the towns, which should have been, and it was great that that was priority number one, but the situational awareness was just not there. And people were suffering because of that.
Well, this might be an opportunity to up our game, especially on GIS, because that IMAP should be accessible to you all. You should just be able to source it.
Well, the system that we was working on, and I did have some support from some of the people within the county government, and I had a lot of resistance from others. But this system was going to buy new computers for every rescue squad, fire department, and police station, and integrate an online mapping, or not an online mapping system. They were independent. So even if the lights went out and they fired up generators, they could still effectively use their mapping tools to plan accordingly and to get out there and actually do some.
I love GIS.
It's amazing. It's amazing
I love
technology.
GIS.
But
It's great
not,
technology.
Yes, it is amazing. It can make such a big difference.
Governor Romano, could you indulge me for a minute? I have a prepared statement on behalf of the citizens of Garrett County. I just want to thank you for your confidence in us when you referred to us as hardy people on CNN the other evening when asked about the storm coming to Garrett County. You know, Hurricane Sandy has indeed tested our strength and has shown us that sometimes we need to count on others for that extra stamina. And the assets that you and the other counties have deployed to Garrett County and the genuine concern of your administration is gratifying as we continue to dig out from this storm. A big thank you goes out to First Energy for being here for our citizens and to all the out-of-state utility companies who are now on the ground here in the area, and we know there are hundreds of those right now, and we can get them out there. We do want to emerge from this stronger, and I want to thank the residents for their patience and the many who have checked on neighbors and friends as well as the first responders and the fire and rescue personnel who have braved the storm to keep our citizens safe. This truly is an all-out neighbor helping neighbor effort that has no geographic boundaries. Our staffs work tirelessly to make sure everything positive is being done and everything possible is being done to protect the citizens whom they serve. We have a lot of work to do here in the county to get us back to normal, and today should provide the citizens with some assurance that in partnership we shall overcome. Governor, I want to thank you again on behalf of the citizens because I know that you care, I know that you're concerned, I know that both of our U.S. senators have contacted us and offered any assistance that they could. And I just want us to say that please everyone be safe out there, stay out of harm's way, and we'll get the situation taken care of. Thank you very much.
Jim, thank you. So we got a lot of work to do. And everybody take notes for the after action. And we'll up our game and become stronger for the next one because these sorts of storms are going to keep coming. George, anything that you, Senator, or delegates want to add?
I just want to thank the government for your concern about the county in general. Commissioner said that we are a community, united community. We do work well together. County, municipality, emergency management does a great job. I've been in contact with Senator Geddes and First Energy, keeping me up to date on what's going on there. Just two quick comments. Before we talk about work with DNR trees, you know, we need to get through this red tape. They need to take action now. We got 297,000 acres of trees in this county. Couple go through the red tape when they need it. We should tell DNR, if they got experts to cut them out and take care of this problem. Right now, not going through all their crash red tape to get it done. I don't think it's going to impact a whole lot of anything. But I turn this off.
Let's do that with you guys.
Yeah.
You had similar concern counties. We have the same thing here with people stranded with medicine and so forth and so on. The bigger concern here is temperature. It's cold here tonight, especially this time. And still good as you can see the Florida counties will keep that up. More trees broke down last night, even when the bottom melted. Still the backup broke down. So temperature is a big factor.
What's the temperature tonight?
What it under freezing last night. And it's predicted to be that way, I think, the next couple of days, warm in the high 30s and then down below freezing in the night.
And we're still having some winds too.
Yeah, so we appreciate everything you're doing. People are out and working, and we appreciate sending the guard up and your staff people here, it's great. We'll work with you, mayors, commissioners, Linda and I, and everybody else, get this community up and running, which they will, and they'll be in better shape for it when it's done. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Governor. You've been very responsive, and people have been very responsive, and just the fact that you're here is very comforting. Mountain people, Mountain Maryland are really self-reliant people, and you can see with the mayors and the agencies and how everybody came together to get through these things. We've dealt with this before. Really, in this one, it's kind of goes beyond about anything I've seen in most of my life as far as the road closures, the power outages. It's going to take a while before these power lines are restored. My neighbors and I went together the last 2 days, me with the chainsaw, opened up about a mile and a half county road, or I wouldn't even be out here this morning myself. And so people are out there helping themselves, and we tend to do that. But as you pointed out, there are many people that depend on us, especially the elderly. And so it's comforting to know that we now have people contacting them, trying to get in touch with them, let them know people are trapped out there in rural areas of the county, and it'll take a while to get those roads open and service restored. And we really appreciate the fact that you know we're out here, we're needing help and providing. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll just add, this is the worst storm that I've seen since 1974. Those of you old enough to remember 1974, we got 40 inches of snow, then heavy snow. They even smashed those great big metal fire lines.
I was 11 years old in 1974.
You were in Baltimore anyway. You didn't get it.
All right, well, look, let's do.
One more piece. Do we have a plan for those people that are stranded? Their supplies are going to dwindle very, very quickly.
That's what we're working on, and that's what we're going to get to.
Storage supplies are out too. I noticed like all their shelves are bare. I have people, like we've had some people we was calling. I mean, they're going as far as Cabela's and Wheeling, West Virginia to get generators. So that's another major concern too. I know the public has been having.
What is the current conditions of the road? What's the plan for the road? That's what people are asking.
Right, and that's what we're going to get on. I mean, we've had SHA crews from all over the state who've been up here, pushing the snow, and the main issue now is blockages. And so, once you get rid of the blockages, we can push back.
Trees that are in lines is the problem at this point. Most of the other trees have been removed. It's trees in lines that we have to make sure are not energized circuits that we can get folks in, and that's the deployment that they're working today with the county roads. I think there's a coordination between First Energy and our county roads department that's making that happen right now as we sit here.
If anybody has big maps, I'd like to see some big maps on the wall and some highlighters. Where's your boiler room?
It's back at the sheriff's office.
They have maps?
Not yet. They will.
Need some any big maps at the county?
Well, make sure that those are available.
Get us some big maps. You can draw them. You don't need that.
Governor, how would you compare the situation today here to what you expected for the area out here? I know, with a hurricane coming in, you expect a lot on the eastern shore. How is the situation currently here compared to...
And not to interrupt, but he'll do questions with the press after this, once we finish up. He's going to say hello to a few families first.
Yeah, let's. So why don't you get the press jacket together for us, and Jim, and Joe?
Those who have issues with people that you want us to check on, we're going to ask somebody. Alicia Street, she's got somebody that's going to take that information down and is going to get it back to me so I can make sure we get some people out to you.
So Alicia is your point of contact, is your main person for vulnerable seniors living alone?
And sheltering.
And sheltering, yes.
Okay. Alicia, what's your last name? fix the streets. Okay, so look, folks, let's focus on what we can do rather than what we haven't done yet. And let's prioritize and let's go. Joe, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.